English, the author of that report. Ed Miliband joins us now. Good to see you. Thanks very much for being with us.
Nice
Let's kick off with that rather controversial proposal to make people who go into the public sector, foreign workers, speak English. Is this a recognition by politicians, at last many people would say, that we can talk about immigration without being accused of being racist?
Yeah, of course we should talk about immigration in this campaign, and we should do so in a balanced way. I think the particular issue here is to make sure that there are proper standards of competence among all the public sector workers who face the public.
Is that an acknowledgement that there haven't been in the past?
Well, there aren't. We've looked at this, and there aren't universal standards. So there are some places where there are proper standards to make sure that people can speak English and engage with the public properly, and some places there aren't, and therefore it's right to have a proper standard across the board.
Others would say the real answer to this problem is tighter controls on immigration.
Well, lots of people who are here and who've come here, and we've got a proud tradition of having people here, are working in key areas like the health service, for example. And frankly, the health service depends on lots of workers who are maybe born abroad. I think it's 1/3 or 1/4.
So no tighter controls from Labour?
Well, no, we are saying points-based system. So basically, if you can make a contribution here, if you've got skills, then you're welcome to come here, but only if you can make a contribution.
It's decreed by the Daily Telegraph to be a bid to win back Middle England, more Blairite than Brown. Would you concede that point?
I think we'd like to win as many votes as possible, as you'd expect. The particular thing that they're referring to is our wish to get more out of the public services. So we know there's not going to be lots more money around. We're protecting spending in key areas like schools and health and policing, but how can we get most value for money? And so, for example, we want the best schools to be able to do more. In my constituency, we've had a school that wasn't doing so well taken over by a school that is excellent. That's made a big difference, so we'd like to see more of that.
You're also saying that with regard to antisocial behaviour, something a lot of our viewers are very, very concerned about, that you guarantee them a response within 24 hours. But you don't specify as far as actually what that response is. It might be a council worker turning up to say, hey, I'm really sorry. That's no real action, is it?
It might be that. The initial response is important, but I tell you the thing we really want to do something about, and that's the problem which I've seen in my own constituency of complaints dragging on for months and months, and the council
or no
the
action
police
being taken at all,
or no action being taken at all. And what we've said, which is quite controversial, is that if the police or the council really let you down, we'll give you the money to take out an injunction.
Why is it taking you 13 years to do this, Ed?
Well, actually, we're the people, John, who led the way on antisocial behaviour. It wasn't talked about before 1997, and we've looked at, and this is the whole basis of this manifesto, we've looked at what's worked, what hasn't, where we need to go further, and we're pushing further, like in areas like antisocial behaviour.
Yeah, but many people say this is rhetoric. I mean, this is not real action. I mean, what you really need is more policemen on the beat, and what you're doing is giving more power to the community services officers and possibly endangering their lives by giving them powers to do things that proper police officers do now.
We do have a record number of police, and we're maintaining the funding for that. But again, in policing as in other areas, how can we get most for your money? We're not coming along today and saying we're going to spend oodles and oodles more money in relation to our public services, but we are saying how can we get best value for money for the public.
Let me raise one other controversial issue that was in the papers over the weekend. That's the decision by your party to send out notes to people suffering from cancer, warning them that their care may not be as adequate under the Conservative Party as it is currently under your administration. Isn't that a rather shameful way to conduct an election?
Well, I want to be very clear about this. We absolutely did not target people suffering from cancer. It was a mail shot that went to undecided voters. Now, it's true that some of them were suffering from cancer. We're pointing something out which is very simple, really, which is that we're making a guarantee about the kind of treatment cancer sufferers can get. The Conservatives aren't making those guarantees.
But you don't consider it was upsetting for those people who do
suffer
from
cancer? Well, I'm obviously sorry if people were upset, I'm sorry for those people, but I've looked at the content of the leaflet myself, John, and I actually think it's an absolutely fair leaflet. Now, I'm obviously sorry if some people were upset.
OK. Good to see you. Thanks very much. We'll get more detail about the manifesto later in the day. Thanks very much for coming in.
Cheers.
OK, and you can update with the election campaign on our website, usual place, gm.tv.
So take a look at the news headlines you're waking up to.